Sigma 100%. I mean,
I was smoking at the time too, but I was kind of like, oh, that's slick, bro. Well played.
It's medicinal.
Well played.
Welcome to Thicc Boy Fight Club. I'm your Balkan boy.
Tyson the Beast.
And today we have a very special guest, a very special athlete, a blessed athlete, Angelina Blessed.
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
How are you? Thank you for
good.
having me.
Thanks for coming. And before we start, we're just going to do our Thicc Boy restaurant shout-outs. For me, it's shout out to Saman. She introduced us to M&Co Burgers. I think they have a location in Scarborough, but we went to the one in Mississauga. They do like halal meats. It's like Pakistani owned, but they do like burger styles. And the lamb burger is to die for. The holy basil lamb burger. Steak sandwiches. They got beef, chicken, and lamb. Excellent spot.
For me, another Etobicoke Lakeshore spot, Woody's Burger, right there in that Long Branch Lakeshore area right near me. Considered one of the best burger spots in Toronto. They have everything from bison burgers. They have vegan options for burgers. They have all kinds of different stuff. They're really well known for their sweet potato fries as well right there. They're connected to a few other restaurants and like an ice cream spot right there in the location, so fireplace.
Awesome. I'm going to give a big shout to Thai Nyam, which is 1419 Bloor Street West. They do 3 items a day, super authentic, real Thai food. So that's just at Bloor and Lansdowne. So she does 3 things a day, and it keeps it super, super authentic.
Yeah,
and I appreciate
I shouted them out last week, actually.
Yeah, literally.
Nice.
I was like, hey,
Nice.
literally just did that.
They are
Nice.
fire. Yeah, the chef special. I actually check it pretty often. I'm like, oh, okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, and the best mango sticky rice.
Great choice.
I need to still go there.
Yeah, so Angelina, I've known her for a while. We met actually at the Cannabis markets, but we also know each other from fighting. She is a professional Muay Thai fighter and also the owner and creator of Blessed Edibles. And she is a huge advocate of cannabis as treatment for athletes. So yeah, why don't you just introduce yourself and a little bit about your martial arts journey before
Awesome. I started doing Muay Thai in 2005. And I was not an athlete. I did not come from any sort of athletic background at all. I was a raver. And I kind of just got tired of doing that and needed to sober up a bit, but still had a lot of energy to burn. So I started running. And none of that felt really great. And then I ended up wanting to do something else. So I met Ajahn Suchart at a little place on Bloor Street West. We trained a little bit. And I just slowly fell in love with Thai culture. Went through a breakup, and I guess it was the year after the tsunami, so 2006. Ended up on a plane and headed to Chiang Mai. So, probably
super authentic Muay Thai.
Pardon me?
Chiang Mai, authentic Muay Thai.
Like super authentic. I was picked up at the airport by a man who did not speak English. I did not speak a lick of Thai. And he told me to be back at the gym for 6 o'clock. I was chased by stray dogs. You could just hear the roosters. I was just a little white girl from Toronto and had no idea what I had gotten myself fucking into. And we just started. So it was, a month of training there, head home. And then the second time that I came back the next winter, I fought. So
that's pretty fast.
It was fast. I, looking back, had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And I think most of my fights over my professional journey had kind of been like that, with all heart and, learning technique as I went. So there was a lot of kind of ups and downs with that. But with that comes recovery and pain and training fatigue that we all kind of go through. And I think coming up through the years of training and fighting, we weren't really taught about recovery at all. We were all taught how to have harder heads and be tougher and be stronger and be faster and all of that shit. But there was no I think the biggest realization for me was finding out that the recovery was just as important as the training, if not more. Yeah, exactly.
What you do.
So it really became about that. So after years of training and fighting, my body really broke down and I didn't understand it. A lot of it became more mental. So, I'd be like, oh, I'll take a day off and take the day off and then not really feel much better the next day. So that's when things like Float Toronto kind of came in and edibles came in, and I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I was living a super, super, super clean, healthy lifestyle, like no sugar, no nothing, no weed. So, I just didn't really know what to do when this, you'd roll over at night and you'd wake yourself up because the pain in your body is sore and you're not getting rest and you're waking up and you're crying and you don't know why everything fucking hurts. So that's when, like I was training with Simon Marcus and those boys at the time over at
bang.
CM #1, and they'd all go out every single morning and smoke mad blunts. And I just like, what the fuck are those guys doing? Total stigma bullshit.
Kush Warriors.
Kush Warriors. And it worked. And they'd come in and they'd run and they'd clinch and they'd go. And I'm just like, these guys are terrible, you know? And I'm like, they were doing it. And then I'm like, fuck it, I got to do it. So I went home, smoked a joint. All right. Yeah, my body feels okay. I feel a little better. Then you get a little bit more rest, and then you eat a little better the next day. And it just kind of started to do that. So I didn't really want to smoke though. I always had sensitive lungs. You know, I partied way too hard. And so I started making butter, and then I started making cookies, and then I started taking way too heavy naps because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing at the time.
You were just feeling good. You're like, I like this. I'm gonna keep going.
7-hour nap. Great. Okay. So I started bringing cookies to the gym for the boys, and then they started going out to a couple of dispensaries because, you know, still super black market at the time. And it got into
rush.
Right,
Yeah,
got into my
like
girlfriend
good
Amy
times.
Weinstein's hands, and then she got them into Damien Abraham's hands, and he was the guy from Vice. So he did a documentary called Cannabis Culture, Cannabis Candyland. So it was all about the edibles makers.
That's when I first heard
Yeah.
about
I've seen
you.
it.
So I went
Yeah.
online. I went into the ring with Damien and like beat the crap out of him. Like legitimately, we had to film it a couple times, and I actually beat him up. And then I took him into the kitchen, and and then I made him a bunch of cookies. So that got like 1 million views. And then the cookies got voted #2 edible in Canada. So like a lot of kind of stuff kind of happened. And then with the markets and with you guys helping us out at the markets, it just kind of grew. And I felt that we were a little bit different because we really wanted to talk to people about how they were medicating and the milligrams that they were going into it, and what ingredients people wanted to actually eat.
Yeah, like you were
the
putting.
health.
That's why
Yeah.
your edibles were the best, because they were like vegan edibles, healthy stuff. Most edibles that were at the market time were like packed full of sugar.
Well, we were
bunch
really
of unhealthy
Your
stuff. in there.
focus was different.
we really
from my
wanted
menu.
to be able to have a little bit of a treat, but not have to ingest an entire chocolate bar while we were trying to maintain our fight weights. So that just made sense for me. I didn't want to eat an entire cereal bar, but I definitely wanted the relaxation benefits and the good benefits and the health benefits. But I didn't want to like throw back 500 calories kind of trying to get there to do so. So
And you don't even have to be a fighter to see the value in that way, right? A lot of people who now, because I mean, obviously there was a stigma behind edibles that now people have realized, like, oh, this can help me with my sleep,
Right.
anxiety.
I
And
mean,
a lot
well,
of
you
people
know-
don't want a bunch of sugar. You don't have to be a fighter.
I
to
want
not
I want
a
one
bunch
piece of chocolate to replace a glass of wine.
Exactly.
Or like if you're taking a Xanax at night, if your anxiety is shitty, like I want like, how about you take have a bite of a cookie instead?
Yeah.
Like it's just the same kind of, just get the medicine into you in a different sort of way. If I can drink a glass of water and get the same medicine, I'm going to do that
Way
too.
better for you than
Right.
taking the Xanax and all these things.
Yeah.
So your recovery thing, you kind of jumped straight to the edible thing, like, because I know for me and him, I knew about edibles and was around it and didn't even think about it for recovery. I was still on the ice baths, the massages. You kind of jumped straight.
I went straight to edibles because
Oh, wow.
I had a bad I had like my lungs were never great. So as soon as I started smoking, I kind of felt it right away. So I like I'll smoke a blunt a day, but I smoke a little bit of a bong, but I do mostly prefer to stick to edibles.
Yeah.
And did you have any like a specific injury or issue that really pushed you over into that, or was it just like an accumulation of?
It was really an accumulation.
Okay.
But there was a really bad concussion, and
Okay.
then I think my cortisol levels kind of crapped out. Like I was tired all the time. I was feeling pain in my body all the time, and a day or two off here and there wouldn't really
Wasn't enough.
fix it. I was probably like magnesium depleted. So getting the float tank in there like almost automatically made me feel better. And they say most women, well, especially athletes, are depleted in magnesium. So
You
it's
sweat it out too much. Yeah?
Huge
just
problem.
I'm sweaty all the time. Like, I'm just gross all the time. So it's really important to kind of replace those things. And I wasn't replacing. I'm sure like we were walking around thinking that eating like spinach and like chicken breast was the diet plan, and all of that has changed with high fat content and thinking about like hydrating our brains. We were I was
important.
dehydrated for so long, depleted for so long. Of course you're going to get head injuries.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
cushion. Like how can you live there? So
And so you're still very much enthralled in the Muay Thai community. And I know for me coming back here, it's a bigger community than a lot of places. And I realized that a lot of people still don't realize how important this is. Like when I came back here, some of the way I saw people training was kind of, still old school. Do you like what have you experienced now that you're so well known for this recovery? Like, do you still see a lot of issues with the way some people are training? Like,
Oh, for sure. You know, like when you kind of look back into the warm up of a usual Muay Thai workout, it's not about finding mobility within the body. It's just kind of like getting warm and going.
Get sweat.
You know,
sweat,
go.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
did you like, and I'm a little older, so like I can't just like skip for 3 minutes and go smash shit. Like I have to do
there's got to be prehab.
30
I'm getting
30 to 40 minutes of hip mobility, shoulder mobility, warming my body up, you know, like is everything moving properly?
Yeah.
I can't just go hit the bag anymore. Like those days are long gone, you know,
Yeah.
like I got all creaking hips and stuff like that. You got to warm it up. So it's, yeah.
I find marijuana was like, I've been a marijuana athlete for a long time. Even before I knew about
Even
the
before I was an
benefits.
athlete.
Before
we talked about
so
it.
I mean, but I found like it was always helped me with like the management of pain and the management of training. And
Yeah.
you know, I smoke up right up to the end of the fights. And shout out to like Elias for being like the first sanctioned athlete with the medical exemption for marijuana. Because like, you know, I would smoke the night before a fight because like it's great. Like I felt great for the rehydration, for the relaxation, for eating more, for getting better rest. And I mean, I've had knee injuries and knee surgeries, and they wanted to put me on like Percocets and oxycodone, and I within a few days was like, oh, I'm way better off just hitting a bong or like smoking weed.
Absolutely. We usually are way better off smoking a bong. I've been offered every pill, you know, like and pills that weren't necessarily even necessary for the pain that I was having.
That's the worst
you know,
part.
like you could have probably told me to go home and take some Advil, but you've sent me home with Oxy. You know, I've gone to the hospital with whiplash and, you know, me saying like, I don't even take Advil, and they've given me like Oxy and something else where I had to call somebody, can you come get me? Cause I'm fucking wrecked. Like I'm not okay. Yeah. Like that's not how I want to feel. And 4 days on Oxy caused massive amount of problems.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and that was taking it for 4 days. And that was me with like major whiplash. So it causes so many more problems. And like as Elias has said, like he was given every single pill. You know, they tried to give him every single pill when something as easy as cannabis could have just been a way better reflection. I
don't know why that's not the first thing to go for, right? I mean, we all know the political reasons and stuff, but I mean, you would want to start with something as mild as marijuana to manage your pain before moving to more drastic measures like opiates.
Right.
Well, one of the first like major pioneers about this was Ricky Williams.
Yes.
And you know, he played here in Toronto. One of the greatest running backs of all time, and in my opinion, career ruined because they were trying to force packs on all these terrible drugs down his throat, and he just wanted to smoke.
Yeah.
And you now fast forward to think about how great he was, and now everyone's so realizing about the science. Like I know you've gotten to deal with him because he was up here for a little bit. Like what's your opinion now that like guys like him went through that and now athletes are actually getting exemptions? And
well, like massive shout out to Ricky because he
sacrificed
he sacrificed, you know, he got kicked out of the NFL, had to come to the CFL, but he's such a good representation of the cannabis market where he has completely changed his life within it too, because like the whole, I'm sure go harder, go faster, get head injuries has changed into him being like a holistic Chinese doctor.
Literally,
he's doing astrology readings. Like when I saw him, when he was here, he gave me a full like osteopathic treatment. We meditated. Like
he's like a shaman now.
Dude is a shaman, and like,
and he's like Jack still.
He's a Jack shaman. So bless him for bringing that kind of positivity to the world and just really doing the work, you know. And that's what it's about doing the work that we didn't think we had to do. Yeah,
because I saw him on a podcast recently, and he actually, this is like more proof of the type of guy is. He actually said he's grateful for what the NFL did. He goes, they saved me so many years of pain, and a lot of guys, you know, I could have stayed in the NFL and did what they wanted, and you know, he goes, some people might look at what happened to me as a victim. He goes, I'm 10 times happier for the path it put me on. He's right. Like,
imagine if he stayed and continued to grind and continued to get head injuries, and like we may not have heard of him because he could have just like disappeared into the opiate
he would have just been
world.
one of the greatest running backs of all time. And I think a lot of people still look at that as I look at it differently. Like, I think he would have been a top 5 guy. He was that level, but you know, what does that really mean once the lights are off? Like, look at how many of these top level guys, you know, the junior sales of the world who they got all those accolades. You think you made it, you retire, and then they deal with all these issues, and he's taken such a positive spin on what happened to him because he went through hell over this, all because he wanted to smoke, right? Yeah. It was such a crazy story what happened to him.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good that he's made it so far, and he's doing so great with his company.
Yeah.
I think it's called like Ricky Wellness or RWC, I believe, and like he's just killing it, and you know, he's living a really happy life, being able to do what he's wanted to do now. So.
Yeah, I didn't know you did osteopathy. I didn't know you actually got treatment from.
Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
Yeah. We spoke on a panel together. I guess it was like 2000.
I remember that. That's what made me think about it, because I was always a big fan of him before all that nonsense, and even when he was getting in trouble, I didn't realize the benefits that I thought he was literally, I'm not going to lie, at the time, I thought he was just looking for an excuse to smoke weed, right?
Stigma,
like,
100%.
I was smoking at the time too, but I was kind of like, oh, that's slick, bro. Well played.
It's medicinal.
Well played. And then I started fighting. I was like, oh, like he wasn't full.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know what I would do
he really
without
meant that.
Yeah.
Like, what would he do without weed? I don't know what I would do without weed, like, to maintain some of the stuff I do.
Well, you like I said, you do what a lot of people do is end up like, I don't take Advil and stuff like that at all, and I didn't realize how common it is for some people to take it like every week, like it's
all
just
the
kind
time,
of a
yeah.
thing.
I think most people probably, like, if anybody's dealing with any sort of pain, they're probably taking Advil a day.
They don't even think about it. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that common. I thought you had to have a special.
For
I didn't
me,
know
like
people
like an apple,
coffee and Advil,
the spliff a day keeps the pain away.
Yeah,
I don't even think about it.
And some people don't have that spliff. Like you're like, wow, I don't believe it. You know, it's true. It's true. Some people don't smoke weed.
Well, it's true. But at least here in Toronto, you know, we are like blessed, no pun intended, for the situation we are up here, because a lot of places in the States, it's still hell, right?
No, just like even in Thailand, you know, where I can go and talk to any of the foreigners, and everybody's really open about talking about cannabis. But the Thai trainers, like, you can't talk to them about it. They don't have an understanding. It's like talking to them about drugs. Like, they don't want to know that you're in the cannabis industry. They don't want to.
Isn't like, and you guys know more about
you've been to Thailand 16 times. Like, can you get weed there to smoke? Is it?
You can in Phuket, no problem.
Because of all the,
but
all
it's
the tourists,
absolutely
right?
the scariest thing you've ever done. Because like, you can go to the reggae bars and purchase weed. They'll roll you a joint for like $15, but the cops are waiting outside. So if you're dumb enough to leave the premises with it, you're going to get arrested and you're going to have to pay the cops off.
Wow.
So everyone just smokes it only at the bars.
Yeah. And it's not like a massive thing. Like, you don't, you know, it's just kind of the underground thing that you talk about, and it's an okay thing to do. But, you know, you will go to jail if you can't pay them off.
So I understand like the legal thing, because that's a lot of governments. But for the fighters and the trainers, do you not think it's an irony that so many like Thai fighters smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol, and yet the idea of smoking a joint is a problem? Like, I would assume for training, alcohol and cigarettes,
it's
probably,
just stigma. They
right?
they just haven't seen it. You know,
but isn't
like,
that kind of crazy that the stigma is that strong to where they think cigarette and alcohol is okay, but a joint isn't, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they didn't grow up with seeing the kind of things that we've seen.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not.
But things have changed here so drastically.
Yeah.
I used to smoke weed when I would go to the movies. We'd like go to the forest behind the Burger King and like watch, and everyone's in a circle smoking. And now I'm hitting the vaporizer inside the movie theater.
Right. Look at you moving up in the world, eh?
You know?
Yeah.
good for you, brother. Good for you. I'm sorry. Look at him. He's all
Like,
proud,
he's proud of himself.
That's
Yeah.
all I ever wanted. But I was like, especially with the, you know, I obviously, because I was a fighter, like, obviously I trained Muay Thai, but it's a much bigger culture here. And like, when I realized how big of a thing it was to just drink all the time and like fight every week, I was just like, how is that? Like, that to me is crazy. But then smoking a joint's a problem. It's just kind of weird to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, hopefully the stigma, I believe, well, the stigma is really lightening up slowly, because, you know, Thailand is now legalized for medicinal, which is really awesome. And they're talking about legalizing for tourists. So you can go now and get a medical license in Phuket and be served weed from a dispensary type store. They are growing hemp. They do have CBD fields they're starting with. So I really believe that as soon as Thailand really realizes the monetary greatness that will come with cannabis, and their tourism industry is just going to blow up, right? Especially with places like Phuket, where it is 90% tourists and foreigners there.
You
right?
see it now when I was in Jamaica, like they're starting to open up dispensaries,
they
like proper dispensaries. They should have been doing this a long time ago.
For a place like Jamaica to not jump on this first is beyond anybody's common sense.
There's some great LPs out of Jamaica. So Herbs is there. They're really awesome.
So you've been around since, like you said, the green rush, and like, so what's it like? Because I know what it's like for me to, you know, I'm from here, and I know what it's like to come back and visit. It was always more free. It's crazy now the situation we're in, but what was it like actually being in the industry when it was, you know, gray or black market to where it is now, where now everybody wants to give all your trading style. It's like you took a lot of sacrifices and chances to be where you are, and now to see,
and you're going legit now,
so accepted, right? Like what's that kind of like to have been? It's one thing to see it as a user, but nothing to be in, you know, on the other side of it from both.
Yeah, it's been a trip.
Yeah,
like
I heard some stories.
It's
Some
we
raids?
like
I'll let
start,
you tell them. I don't know.
like just starting out, like I didn't want to sell weed. Like I didn't feel that I was a drug dealer or anything like that. I was making cookies for friends. So like,
and the donuts.
But
are
they
fire,
treated
too.
you like a freaking drop the pen.
But it
Drop
was
the donuts.
you know, it did end up kind of getting scary because some of these green markets were getting, you know, like we would have undercovers coming through and stuff like that, and we were, you know, it was.
I know. I was doing security.
Yeah,
then,
and
man.
you guys were in charge. Yeah, that's. I feed you donuts all day, and I was hoping that you'd have my back. You know,
I brought this guy to work one time, and we did
Just
dab hits, and
do
I was
what he
like,
told me to
"There
do.
is no security anymore.
It's
Security
whatever.
is useless."
This is the boss. You do what the boss tells you, right?
You know,
Hit
just
the
take
joint,
one,
I hit the
take one
joint.
for the team. I can't walk anymore, but.
The ones that pursued OCR were the best.
The ones that the Pursuit was a massive like adult playground, so it was like thousands of square feet.
I love that
with
place.
like ball pits and
A great place to do edibles.
Great place to do edibles. Somebody did throw up in that ball pit,
Or
but
chocolate shrooms.
Definitely wasn't from your edibles though. It's probably
No,
from the
definitely not my edibles.
sugary brownie ones.
must have been the sugary brown ones, yeah. But yeah, it's been really fun and hard, but moving into the legal world has been a really amazing learning experience because you have to end up in all the crazy corporate meetings with all the venture capitalists and stuff like that.
That
So
know nothing about weed, but are just here.
that know absolutely nothing about weed and want to know everything that you want to know. And so I took a lot of meetings like that and just really had to try to find the partnership that was going to make the most sense, where I still hold on to a big percentage of my company, but still have the backing to do the things that I want to do. I didn't want to like, you know, sell out and then have to do like a super sugar cookie or, you know, super preservative. So I've been able to maintain the integrity of the products, which is really dope. So we are launching with 2 legal products in the next couple months. And packaging and stuff like that will still be plan and actions because it's not going to be the final product, but I'm just really excited to get 2 products out on the market that
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats, yeah.
Thanks.
You deserve it.
What are the 2 products?
So we're launching with a lemon water.
Nice. The
which
water absorbs so quickly, I gotta say.
Yeah,
like,
we've
fantastic.
sourced a really cool technology. So those edibles will hit within 10 minutes. And so as soon as you drink it, it'll.
And do you do like a THC CBD combination?
Yeah. So we started with the whole kind of train, treat, repeat philosophy. So training, I want to do like, say about 10 milligrams of THC to about 3 milligrams of CBD. Treat would be like a full CBD line, and then repeat would be more of a balanced line, like a 1-to-1. It's just so there will be options for kind of everybody. 10 milligrams is the legal milligram dose. So
for people like us, that's not.
So for people like us, it really doesn't.
But for the general public, it's a great start.
You know, like all of us medical users or people that have used for a long time, it's you know, I'm really excited to show the new people, to get the moms in, to get people who have never touched it, you know, people who are really looking for more of a experience with it. And then, you know, I'm thinking in the next year or 2, they're going to lighten it up, because you can walk into the LCBO and walk out with all of the 151. I could buy all of the alcohol of LCBO if I wanted to right now, and they wouldn't stop me. How many people could that kill? Right?
Yep.
If I bought all the weed in one of the stores right now, could I hurt anybody?
No. Not a single person.
There's an irony to that, right? But that's kind of the thing. It's the irony of the difference between the view of alcohol and marijuana. It's still
it's a very arbitrary, like, but they've taken the safest possible approach to edibles. 10 milligrams.
10 milligrams.
I mean, that is.
Well, this is funny for a guy who's done security, right? And you've done it at both bars and.
I've never had an issue at any of the weed events.
If you're a security guard, the idea that like we have to keep everybody like, no, if I'm doing security, I want you guys all as, because alcohol is my that's why I
have less incidents at those dance hall parties because everybody's smoking weed inside them. Along with the
that's why I stopped doing security
drinking.
Was the alcohol part, like the bar. Like,
I'm more worried about that.
Nobody stoned is going to be fighting you. Like nobody stoned is going to be fighting you.
They're not there for that either. Like if that's your vibe to go to one of these markets, like you have to really disrespect somebody that started fighting one of those.
I think alcohol is the most destructive social drug. I mean, it's on par with like heroin and heavy opiates, but in a way, it causes
pass out though. So
they pass out and they pass out and they OD and things like that. But with alcohol, like the social consequence of it, like the fights and like the drinking and driving, like it's probably the most destructive.
Domestically, it's probably worse than that's.
And as a fighter and an athlete, you know, there's literally nothing that'll take a harder toll on your body.
Yeah, it breaks your body down more than anything else. It makes it hard for you to sleep. It dehydrates you, like
Absolutely.
we were talking about.
I mean, it's hard. Guys that can train hungover, I give them mad props. You know. Luke the Duke.
I was just thinking, like,
Like,
shout out to our boy Luke,
like
the bastard.
few guys like that, but I mean, I can't do it.
You gotta be built differently.
That's like that's the old Thai trainer business. You know, if your Thai trainer doesn't smell like whiskey, I'm just like,
Isn't that crazy too?
Yeah, but
That's
that's
like not authentic. You don't want to.
I'm like,
I don't want
no,
you holding past.
yeah,
me.
you need to smell like cigarettes and whiskey and just like hate life.
And and have like a deep raspy voice and just
That's what I
scream
want.
at me as I hit
That's
past.
so
That's what I
hilarious
want in
that
life,
That's
yeah.
like the logic behind it. And so, like,
Well, they lived a hard life, right? So those trainers have trained probably like from 12 until 25. You know, had their bunch of fights, and now they're
300
done.
fights.
They've had their 300 fights, and now they just want to smoke cigarettes and drink whiskey, and that's their life. Yeah.
so with what's going on the past year, you know, obviously people's business has been affected, but I've also been hearing about, in the States at least, there's been statistics about more people are using prescription drugs, more people are on all these things because of anxiety. As you can imagine, have you been noticing a difference in your, you know, because obviously if I had a friend who was telling me, hey, I'm about to go to the doctor and take XYZ for my anxiety, I'd rather send him to you before seeing him on Xanax, right? So,
Oh,
have you noticed a
100%. 100%. I think, like, I am no doctor, but I really feel that mental health is failing in this world.
especially right now.
Like right
this
now, I
past
think
year,
it's
been
at
crazy.
a really, really terrible point. People are very unwell. Racism
Yes.
is fucking rampant, and people are not handling COVID. Like myself, in therapy once a week, am still 100% struggling, even though I've given myself the time and the space to work on the things that I need. I was so excited to come in to see you guys, to look at some humans, you know, like I haven't seen
Well,
people.
we
I
look
see
forward to
my
our Wednesdays
partner,
the same way.
like
It's
I see my partner at night, but like I'll go to the local market and get my few things, but I'm not seeing people.
Come
So
see us
like,
anytime. Like,
yeah,
you know,
you're like,
open
go
door
back, we'll
policy.
talk every day.
Open door policy.
But
yeah.
it's like people aren't well. My girlfriend's messaged me, and I feel like everybody is having a good day and then a bad day. And on the bad days, they're reaching out. And then on the good days, you know, we're all just trying to hold each other up right now. And I don't feel like anybody's really standing.
Yeah.
People are really like, do I need medication? Do I not need medication? Like, don't do medication. Eat fucking mushrooms.
Yeah.
Smoke some weed. Like,
get your exercise, get outside, get vitamin D, get some social interactions.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have people like Tyson to train with. I mean, and I'm glad I smoke weed every day.
yeah.
Well, that's why we wanted you on. This is why, like, having you on, and because you're awesome, right? Just overall, like, you just are, right?
Yeah, when you said that story about
Like, yeah,
kicking his
like-
ass and making cookies for him after, I was like, that's the perfect description of Angelina.
2
Like,
years
one of the
ago, I
toughest
would have
chicks
wanted
you
you
know,
on the podcast, right?
and one of the nicest girls you know.
Yeah, but like
Making
right
cookies
now,
after.
I just felt like it was really important to like showcase what you're doing and how long you've been doing it. Because you know, like you said, there's a lot of new people who kind of don't know what the fuck they're doing, and I think people who are kind of wanting to dabble in that as opposed to going to the doctor need to hear from people who you've been doing this a long time. You kind of like you said, you're more into the idea of recovery than, you know, some high experience, and it's not about just being high for you, right?
No,
so that was another reason we wanted you on here so bad.
Oh, my whole life, I thought that I went to go and do Muay Thai to be strong. And it's really not about that at all. And when you look around the gym and you see the people that you train with, everyone is there for mental fucking health.
Yeah.
Like everyone
Totally.
is there to get out of their head for an hour and a half and put everything they have on something. And you can't think about shit.
And feel accomplished.
And if you can go and think about your issue with your job or your partner,
not training
or
hard
whatever,
enough.
you're not training hard enough.
Yeah.
So get to fucking work.
fully puts you
Yeah.
in the moment.
Yeah.
So where can people reach out to you? Obviously, we're gonna put your Instagram there, but like, where else can people find your products? Where can people reach out to you? Like,
Yeah, our products will be should be across Canada over the next couple of months. So that should be through the OCS. We are probably starting out west, just because the markets are a little bit bigger out there for us right now. You can reach us at Blessed Edibles on Instagram or blessededibles.com, or you can reach me at angelina.blessed on Instagram.
awesome. All right, so before we go, we want to shout out all our sponsors. Huge shout out to Top Mutt Studios, our girl Fallon. Congrats again. I'm gonna keep giving you props for that.
Big love.
Love this place. Just for Kicks, my guy Sean Allen. If you guys need all the exclusive kicks, these cool little sneaker sock, whatever. What do you call them? House shoes.
Papuche in Bosnia.
My guy's Major Pack in Kansas City. Who else?
We got Kangen Water. We got Blessed Edibles. My guy Matt Special, you know, helping all the
Bearded
fighters cut weight, bearded bite.
He said Blessed Edibles. Hopefully,
I'll take it. I'll
wink,
take
wink.
it.
If you know,
We got
sponsors
sports
just say-
bars and I'm about to enjoy this Blessed Edibles.
That's not a legit Blessed Edibles.
It's not a
by the
legit
way.
Blessed Edibles.
That's just a friend
from her-
making.
It's a friendly brownie.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, guys.
Like I said,
Yeah.
don't be a stranger. Come see us anytime. And guys, make sure to check her out. Like I said, this is really important right now. I think more people need to hear this as opposed to what they're trying to give you for what's going on right now, the mental health side. So definitely go check out Angelina Blessed. And yeah, see you guys on the next one.